sword of Mercury. So today, I guess you can see we're covering the physics of light, which is something that's pretty fundamental to us, considering that it literally animates our awareness of the world or our perception of it. And yet, we don't seem to explore it any more than at a surface level in terms of what it's able to do, in terms of its contribution to our understanding of physics. So today I'm going to be covering pretty much all the physics of light, and stick around because I think you'll find this particularly interesting if you are concerned with making yourself more aware as you move through the world, or are interested in the physics behind light and how that affects perception and affects consciousness. So maybe I'll just get right into it. Got our Tappy Marker here. And essentially, this is just a space-time fabric that I drew out, but typically I was going to start with, so these three really represent how light is something. So we have transparent on one side, we have translucent, and then we have opaque on the other side, and that is basically the ability of light to travel through a medium, through some kind of object, right? In essence, though, this is kind of just important for us understanding how light affects different things when it comes into contact with solid objects. For example, glass is solid, but light can go through it because it's transparent, right? So the energy is being beamed through, but there is a solid object in between. Same thing, like it's different with like something like a wall, for example, which is like opaque, and it doesn't allow any of the light energy to pass through it, really. Or if it does, it's on a very minuscule level, and it's not visible to human perception or consciousness. In any case, I only illustrated this to give us an understanding of how light is an object. Wave-particle dualism is kind of the basis of understanding light. Essentially is based on the concept in quantum mechanics, where it's known as wave function collapse, where essentially you have this effect of wave-particle duality, where a photon will be aware whether you're looking at it or not. So this is why they always say in quantum mechanics that an observer has to be present for an experiment to be conducted, because the experiment's result will end up different based on whether there's an observer present or not, somebody observing it or not, and how they're observing it. So essentially you can think of it like this, that when nobody is looking at a particle, it expresses itself as a wave of potential energy, and when somebody looks at it, it transforms itself back into a particle, and then it becomes this fixed form of energy, in a sense, where it's still light, it's still prone to flux and whatnot, but it's in relativity to the observer's consciousness acting upon that thing. So that is the basis of that. And why this is important is it really means that everything that you look at around you only exists in a certain degree based on your relation to that object or to what you're viewing. Basically meaning that if you change your perspective of how you're looking at something, then that thing itself will change. The energy around that will change, because everything in the cosmos has an electric and magnetic field around it. So if you've well read on the works of Manly P. Hall, he talks about this concept a lot in some of his lectures where he's talking about the inherent nature of the magnetic field surrounding all things in the cosmos, especially in relation to spiritual development or anything like that, and the functioning of the human body and its energy field. In essence, though, that's the concept. It's based on this wave function collapse that everything you observe is only in relativity to you observing it. So if somebody, it's almost like if you go to an art museum and you look at a piece of art and it's very abstract and you might interpret it as something, and the person standing beside you might have a completely different interpretation. It's the same way for light and perceiving the external world. And this is really where like manifesting and blah blah blah, all that like new agey stuff comes into play, because it's based off this concept that the world changes based on how you're looking at it, and the physics and quantum mechanics actually supports that. In any case, I'm gonna move on. So, spin around here. Maybe I'll do some tapping on the tea mug later. In fact, though, it's just water today. It's just water right now. So, as I said, magnetic and electric fields surround everything in the cosmos. And as we know from science, this is one of the four fundamental forces of the universe, our universe anyway. But it is very fundamental to all things. If the magnetic or electric field around something is disturbed, disturb the matter, disturb that energy field. Okay. Hydration is key. Remember that. We're 75% water, so in any case, going back to light, I try to make this for like as authentic as possible for you guys, because like I typically when I film these things I don't reshoot. I film this like once and it's like authentic in real time, and then it's done. I don't edit it or anything. In essence, going into the electromagnetic waves, or light. This is light. This is what light is here. Electromagnetic waves. And essentially, the basis around this is that these oscillations in the electric and magnetic fields, which actually run perpendicular to each other, as you can see here, electric and magnetic fields, or electric and magnetic waves are perpendicular to each other. Electric and magnetic waves, electric and magnetic fields, same thing. In essence, you have these two fields running perpendicular to each other, and along the middle axis, like the center focal point that runs through it, is light, because it's the oscillation of these two fields running perpendicular to each other that creates light. Light is the oscillation of electric and magnetic fields running perpendicular to each other in some kind of a medium, whether that's space, vacuum, air, whatever, water. So, magnetic fields is illustrated like this. You have the magnet here. Electric fields, the difference is that electric fields, the poles, or the charges in this case, these are poles, these are charges. The charges can remain independent of one another in space. I'll say that again, electric charges can be independent of one another in space. So you can take a positive charge and put it on one side of space and put a negative charge on the opposite side, and they don't have to be always together. With magnetic fields, north and south are always found together, and essentially that's the concept of magnetic fields in its entirety as we understand it at the moment. We've not found a magnetic field that has only north or south, but if we did, fun fact, it would be called a monopole, which is a term for if you found a magnetic pole by itself. In essence, though, this is kind of irrelevant to today, but just a little fun fact. So, magnetic fields, magnetic poles always go together. There's always a north, there's always a south. Electric fields, you can have them independent of one another. In essence, though, that's one of the main differences behind these fields. So, again, this perpendicular oscillation is what creates light, and essentially means that a moving magnetic field creates an electric field, and a moving electric field creates a magnetic field, and that oscillation is what we perceive as electromagnetic radiation or light. So this is kind of the basis of the physics of light here, and there's more to get into. I didn't even get into the visible light spectrum, which only makes up about 0.05 or 0.03% of this whole wave. So it would be like maybe this little amount here compared to the whole wave. And that is what we see. That's what we perceive with our physical sensory perception with our eyes. So, but like radio waves, microwaves, infrared waves, ultraviolet waves, X-rays, gamma waves, all those type of forms of radiation or electromagnetic radiation we do not see with our senses, but our body can tell it's there. Just like when we go out in the sun and we get like tanned, or we feel the rays on our skin warming us up. That's our body picking up those other forms of radiation, besides just visible light, which is in the middle. In essence, though, this is the basis of the concept of light in physics, and I could go more into electric and magnetic fields, but maybe that'll be another video, because essentially, like, the basis of most of this stuff is that Earth is one big electromagnet, and that's how it's able to deflect the charged particles of the sun, also known as solar flares or solar wind, or like a solar events or phenomenon, or space weather, sometimes called. So all of these factors are really based on the Earth operating as one big electromagnet, because remember, the Earth is rotating. It's rotating from this central point, central line, and this is what happens. Like when the Earth spins in rotation, that movement is generating the magnetic field around the structure, and that magnetic field is leading to the shielding effect from charged particles, like we see from the sun. In essence, as the basis of the electromagnetic shielding effect around the Earth. So, I'm not going to get into how in recent times technology has maybe corrupted the bioelectric field's natural form, because if we look at it from a spiritual standpoint, or bring spirituality into this, like people like Manly P. Hall typically theorize that magnetic force, or the magnetic pattern, is generated by the breakdown of the etheric form, or the higher spiritual essence. So essentially, because things like satellites and all these technological waves are now introduced into our society and into our planet's bioelectric field, it has essentially tainted the natural form of this etheric substance, and it's become almost impure to a degree. I'm not going to go into that too in depth. Let me know in the comments if you want me to make a video on ether, which is this concept that has been talked about not only in physics, but also in like ancient Greek philosophy, and has long-standing history over ancient texts and civilizations and interpretations of constructs of space and time. So it's essentially, in a nutshell, it's this incorruptible substance that permeates all of existence. In any case, that is what I have for you today on the physics of light. Let me know if you enjoyed this in the comments below. I encourage you to like and subscribe, and to share this with people you know, friends and family, or anybody who is interested in physics phenomenon, or understanding the natural world, or philosophy, or spirituality, or anything in that realm, because it does help support this channel and help support the community. We're almost at 300 subscribers currently. It seems that a lot of the ratings in the past couple videos have kind of hit a plateau or have gone down a bit. So I'm hoping that we can have a little turnaround effect with that, where the algorithm gets us, pushes up this again, because this information is really important to share with the world, and this is only the beginning of the journey that we will take together, and only the beginning of changing the world as we know it through our understanding and insight. In any case, I encourage you again to like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments what videos you'd like to see in the future. Once again, this is the Sword of Mercury, brought to you by the Prince of Mercury. And there's some stuff maybe in some coming videos that I would really like to share with you guys about the nature of, why I'm doing this, and what is kind of my incentive for creating these videos, besides just to share my knowledge with you guys and help you guys advance in your spiritual journey, or in your journey period, as well as my own. But there are some other reasons typically associated with this content creation field, which I would like to allude to, as well as kind of turning around the dynamic of the ASMR community to something a bit more productive in the realm of what we can utilize this niche for, in terms of platforms like YouTube or whatever, where we do this. In essence, that's today's video on light. Once again, like and subscribe, and I will link all my links down below to my Instagram. Follow me there, top_sorcerer. Check out my other podcast, Moonstruck, which I will also link in the description of this video. And yeah, thank you so much for watching the entire video. You guys really help make this channel run, and I am very appreciative for all your support. So I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.